What's up guys, Creative Arts here, and this is going to be the first part of a tutorial series where I will be teaching you how to make graffiti. So this is going to be more of an introduction, so it's not going to really have a lot of things in it. It's just going to be more about making the letters themselves. But before we get into that, I'd like to give a shout out to Nad Artworks. This is his channel right here. He just made my intro and he did an awesome job. He's just really good at the 2D intro thing, so be sure to check him out. So back to the tutorial. So I start on a canvas of 1280 by 720 pixels, and the brush I use is 60 pixels with 100% hardness. Then I go to shape dynamics and I put the control onto pen pressure, both controls onto pen pressure, and then I also have smoothing checked. Now I use a Wacom Bamboo pen and touch tablet, but you could also do this with a brush. But for a brush, the size I'd recommend is probably 35, because when you use the pen tablet, it makes the lines smaller since it's based on pressure. So to start with, let's just start with the letter F. So that's your standard letter F right there. So just with graffiti, you're trying to express text in different ways while creating a flow within the text. So I'm going to be making a flu graffiti. So we have F, just like that. And it takes a couple trials to get the letter where you want it to be. So there, I like that F. So we'll just have all the letters written out there. So now with the L, just add some curves that go along with the F. Bring it up a bit. And it's all about, you just keep doing it until you get it right, or to where you want it to be. Alright, so that's looking good enough. And then we'll add the E. And it's just changing up the text and having it sort of go with the rest of the word. And I like adding these little accents to the text just to change it up a bit. And now the W. And I mean, there's certain letters that you guys are going to run into that you don't like to work with. That's perfectly normal. Just you'll have to practice with those and see if you could find a version of them that you like. So there we go. Yeah, there we go. So there's a flu graffiti. So let's get rid of this part right here. And what I tend to do with all my graffitis is I'll make them again, and you'll see in most of my speed arts I already start off with a pre-made graffiti just because I like to get them just where I want them to be. So we'll go through the F again. Alright, so there we go. In some cases, you might like the previous version more, and I think that's the case for this one. Let's see. Alright, so there we go. I don't like that, so we'll just use this. So pretty much that's how you make the text. And that's what you have for your template. Now, brushing the text is not how your actual graffiti is going to look. It's just, I like to call it a template or sort of guidelines for how you'll actually make the text look. So let's move on to pen tooling. So I set the opacity to about 30% for the text, and then I just zoom in on the text. So let's start with the F. It's all about adding curves that really aren't there to start with. So there. And you want to add these little nice curves at the end of the text. It just keeps the flow going, but also adds a different way to make the text. It just makes it look cool. And I'm going to give Era the props for that because he really revolutionized the way that the graffiti looks on YouTube, at least. And he's just amazing at that. So there we go. So sorry about this. This actually takes a lot longer than you think. The pen tooling usually isn't done just instantly. In fact, in some letters in my speed arts, if I'm not getting it down right away, I'll just pause the speed art so I have more time to work on it. All right. All right, so there we go. That's the letter F. So we'll export the path to the desktop. And then we'll just fill it in. So now to the L. So while you're making this, you still want to achieve the flow. And it's really all about flow. That's all the graffiti is. It's flow and the different ways to make the graffiti text, or the text I should say. So there we go. And the letters don't necessarily have to be conventional. Like that L kind of looks like a V turned sideways, but it's just making it work with what you got. So we'll fill that. And now go on to the E. And sorry if I'm not talking, I'm just really focusing on making this right. So also, I'm nearly at 4,000 subscribers, so I was wondering if you guys would want to see a setup video of pretty much everything I have in terms of my setup, or if you'd also want to see like my house and stuff in it. I don't know why you would, but I could do that if you want to. All right. And then if it doesn't look good, like here, the E line below doesn't look good. So I'm gonna just delete that piece out. And what am I doing? All right, there we go. All right, so our last letter. And also tell me where you want me to take this graffiti tutorial in the comments below, because I was thinking of just showing you guys 3D and then ending it, or would you prefer me to also show you how to make the desktop wallpapers or how I take and approach them? Because it would probably be helpful, but I don't know if you really want to know that. So this is pretty much almost done here. So that's going to be about it for this tutorial. And I should have said this earlier, but try to avoid straight lines in the graffiti. Just add curves everywhere you can, because it just looks odd with straight lines. And I would say the hardest thing to do with the graffiti is keeping the flow throughout the text. All right. All right, so that's about it. That's our flu graffiti. I'll probably change the W just because I'm not really happy with how it turned out. But it's all trial and error, and the best way to get good at graffiti is through practice, because me telling you how to do this isn't really going to help you. It's just how much work you put into it. So I'm going to have to fix a couple of the letters here, and for the next tutorial I'll just be showing you guys how to make it in 3D, so expect that in the next week or two. So this is Creative Arts, and that was my tutorial, so peace.